Business never really ceases to amaze me. I wasn't planning on waking up this morning and having a conversation about a stolen piece of art. Wasn't prepared for just the craziness that went on today. Burner accounts were everywhere. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm so exhausted of all of this. I got to be honest. And to everyone that will watch this show, I am exhausted. Just so much built up stuff that goes around here that it's just like, man, can we ever not have drama? Nevertheless, we got lots that we got to discuss. Jay Johnson goes back into the portal today, drops a tiger emoji, gets a big time outfielder. Oh, wait, well, Mr. Blake, he's not, the numbers weren't that impressive. Okay, well, we'll talk about it. I think I have a pretty high expectation for him and Chris Stanfield joining. Well, I guess he's still technically a Tiger, but rejoining someone in the SEC going to LSU. We'll talk about him. We got some football we need to start getting to. We talk about this every year, okay? And about this time, things start coming out. People start dropping like, oh, hey, these are 3 of these teams' hardest games, or like, oh, well, LSU, we gotta, they're going to be better. They got these new coaches defensively. Personnel still very bad. On specific things, we got some things that we need to discuss because I think it's very crucial of what I think that you should expect. People are sleeping on this USC game, man. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. You think you can think a lot of things about them. Do I think you can run them out of the building? Actually, yes, I do. Do I think you could be in a dogfight? Yeah, I do. Too many questions. So we'll talk about that. Some more of the stuff that's going on this summer already. Look, we're about 3 weeks in. So some things that we're hearing on the gridiron we'll get to here tonight as well. Really looking forward to that because, Les Miles really took up yesterday's episode. I got a lot of pushback on it. Knew that I would. It's neither here nor there. College football or college World Series talk. We'll probably get to maybe at the end and hashtag Ask Blake thoughts, questions, concerns. You can fire them inside of the Rudy Crew chat. Let's get to a couple comments though before we get rolling. Bry says, forget. He doesn't say forget, but he says FUNC. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, they got beat by better teams, man. Doesn't mean I think that you would have beaten them. Chris Lomax says, let's go. Best show in America. Good for you and glad that you're here tonight, Chris. Tyler Townsend, Blanchard, Louisiana. The 318-31 great. Please stand up. We welcome all. Dion Black says, Pete Jenkins comments. We need to get to that. And unfortunately, like a dummy, I didn't get to it with Carter yesterday because I'm never going to turn down a debate ever. So with that in mind, we need to talk about Pete Jenkins. I 100% agree with that. Lucas says on YouTube, did you get my address I sent you? I did not. Weren't you for the stickers? I did not get your address. I got a sticker that I need to send you. Yes. I'll send that to you. I have not got. I said DM me. You put it on a YouTube, Twitter, and then or YouTube comment, and I forgot about it. And by the way, don't put your address. I remember, Lucas, you put your address in the YouTube comments, and we deleted it because it's your personal address. Don't give it. No, I don't like people giving out addresses. I got, dude, so many times, Lucas, side note, people ask me for my address to send me stuff. I don't give it to them. I don't give it to them. I don't want you knowing where I live. We'll figure out some other kind of way. Spectrum Wellcare says, are we getting better with our baseball editions with the players leaving? It's a great question. We'll talk about that here tonight as well. It's a great question. Great question. To answer it somewhat quickly, I mean, yes, but if Bear Jones leaves, Tommy Tanks leaves, you got some power you need to replace. Just it is what it is. Michael Morris sends a $199 super chat. Says SEC baseball is better than or greater than ACC baseball. I tend to agree. Blaine says, have you made it to football practice lately? No, they're not in practice. What they go through in the summer does not have media availability. Now, what they have done is the camp workouts for high school players. I'm not going. So I really sometimes have a hard time, what a kid does in spandex, like, are you making an appearance 2 days in a row, little Missy? Okay. All right. Well, thank you for opening the door there, Jewel. Thank you. Tell him hello. Tell Mommy to come see, please. I'm on the show, buddy. Hey. I don't know, but I'm on a show. So before you come in here crying, everybody can hear you. I told you. All right, we got to get to a break. Everybody do us a favor by hitting the like and share. Share to all those groups. If you're on Facebook, share to all those social media pages. You're watching us, listening to us on YouTube. Like, subscribe, notification bell, wherever you listen to podcasts. Rate, review, and subscribe. Let's talk about our good friends over at BetOnline. Good friend Tyler Alexander over at LBT Realty, and our good friends over at J&J Exterminating. We're back next. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way for you to wager on all of your favorite sports, contests, events with the first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews for all the news for each league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, college sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all of your sports information for live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head on over to BetOnline today and use your mobile device to join and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50, that's BELIEVE50, BLEAV 50, to receive your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag, betonline.ag.
He will sell your house and find you a new. Well, Tyler's the man, he's here for you. If you want to buy or sell, well, it's not too late. Dial 955-0008. Just call 955-0008. Y'all call Tyler, he'll shoot you straight.
Louisiana is unique. The food, the festivals, even the bugs. No, not mud bugs. Unwanted bugs like these. The ones you don't want crawling in your home or business. Trust the Shield from J&J Exterminating. We've been protecting Louisiana homes for over 50 years, earning the trust of our clients because we deliver what we promise. Protect your home from pests. Get the Shield from J&J Exterminating.
J&J Exterminating. Yeah. We're back.
My buddy LG's in the chat here. He says, hey, Joel, it's interesting. Got to lock doors. Got to remember to lock doors. Secondly, she loves her some LG's, man. She loves her some LG's. I got to admit, she does. She does. He came over here for what fight was it? Was it Portier and Makachev? Portier, man, stayed in there. Stupid leg hook or whatever, ice pick hook or whatever they called it. They got him in. to that submission. Nevertheless, we got lots we got to discuss, lots that we have to get to. Let me preface this by saying, when we get to the football segment, remind me, I got to tell you all something. I got to tell you something pretty massive because it'll bring a lot of context of what I think. Stay tuned with it. But LSU got some really good news today. Jay Johnson earlier this morning sent out the tiger emoji. Obviously, everybody are signifying like the bat signal that they got to commit. Well, they got one today from Chris Stanfield, the center fielder from Auburn. You may remember him in 2023 in that series that LSU would wind up losing, if you remember. Stanfield went 2 for 4 off Paul Skeens. Had a couple of really good plays in center field that game. Kind of had a different it was a little bit more explosive at times at the plate, I feel like, maybe because Auburn did win a lot in his freshman season. Sophomore season was just surrounded by a lot of injuries, a lot of bad baseball play, and, of course, what LSU fans said, even though a kid in the SEC hit 275 last year in 52 games, oh, he hit 4 home runs and 25 RBIs. They say it's not enough. Okay, let's talk on Chris Stanfield very quickly committing to committing to LSU. Look, I think for me, and I think this is something we discuss often, when guys like Michael Braswell come here and Jay Johnson sees something with them at the plate, I tend to listen. Because, you know, the thing that in discussion that you and I had during the entire season about Michael Braswell had to do with him defensively, right? I mean, the kid was pretty solid at the plate. There's not a lot of guys that hit above 300 in this league, man. Not a lot of them. Majority of them don't hit above 300 in this league. Braswell did that and even did better than that down the stretch for the Tigers, and he really started getting rolling, was in that leadoff spot. I don't think that if I would have told you this part last year when LSU was going through the College World Series and Michael Braswell had already been committed and was going to be your shortstop for this past season, that you and I would have had the discussion that, hey, man, he's going to come in here, hit above 310. He's going to hit more home runs. He's going to have more RBIs. He's going to have more just total runs. He's going to have less errors. You would have taken all of that. You would have said Jay Johnson, if he can do that, would be a beast. I feel the same exact way about this. Also, Jay Johnson has done at the plate from, let's just give him a little bit of credit, historically has done great when it comes to the portal. Now, did he miss last year? Did Mac Bingham not do what he probably thought? Okay, well, Mac Bingham hit 360 in the Pac-12, and everybody says, well, it's not the ACC or SEC. Nothing is the SEC. But 360 is 360. So I think a kid in Chris Stanfield comes in here. I have a very bold prediction for him, to be honest. My bold prediction is that he's going to come here. Now, he is a draft-eligible sophomore. And again, when we talk about these things, yeah, I do think that he's going to stay. I don't think he's going to go to the draft. Guys, I think it's a really good addition. You didn't have a true center fielder last year. You just didn't. This kid, day one, game one, is your starting center fielder. Does he have to get better at the plate? Sure. But a 275 hitter the last 2 seasons and 52 games, guys, he didn't hit a lot of home runs. Well, what else was he doing? You know, the significance of what he did for his team with the at-bats that he had, even though the average is down, people look at the average and say, oh, well, you know what? The kid really just didn't do well, even though his team and everybody around him was bad. The kid hit leadoff, and it might just be and if Jay can work with him more, a true leadoff guy for you. A true speed guy for you. You get some speed on the base paths. For once, you get some speed on the base paths. You know, ironically, the way that Jay has built this team, kind of technically, it resembles at the current moment Kentucky. Now, Jay's not going to steal as many bases. I don't know if he's going to put as much pressure on you as Kentucky does. I don't know if he's got that much speed. But, guys, Kentucky is in the College World Series, and they're still battling. They're still fighting. Why? Why? In my humble opinion, it's because Jay is going to probably play a little small ball maybe a little bit early. Now, we don't know all the power bats that he's going to add and can add, and that can change in an instant. But you're going to have some guys that can run and hit a little bit. So when you add that in there, I mean, look, guys, I know Milam's not the fastest human being alive. Kid can put him up and down a little bit. So we'll see. But I do love the addition, if I'm being honest. Look, when you had two guys that had that much power, and really three guys, if we're being honest, because majority of the year, the order went Tommy Tanks, Bear Jones, Hayden Travinski. Boom, boom, boom. Three big right-handed bats that had power. When they had guys on, dudes didn't run. Jay didn't run. It's what a lot of power teams do. It's why you don't see the Yankees run often. It's why you see, I mean, I would say the Braves, but they do a little bit more than that. But when you have that much power, you don't run often. Now, you say the Braves, more it was like one guy in Acuna that did most of that. But you get what I'm saying with everybody else. So I think it's interesting. Look, I saw Bear Jones today, was watching the MLB Network. He comes up. I'm like, he's hitting BP, and the exit velocities, what was it, 115? And it just sounds different off the bat. I just don't. And I've continued to say this. I know that there's a lot of optimism, people wanting him to come back. I think it's wishful thinking. I really do. I will be the first one, if Jared Jones comes back, I will run out here and say, I've never been more happy to be wrong. I want to be wrong. I want to continue to be wrong about Bear Jones. I don't think he's coming back. I hope he does. I don't think that he does. So we'll see. I'll be so happy if he does, though. So damn happy. You're losing a lot, but you're gaining a lot, and you're not even remotely close to being done, in my opinion. You got Curiel that announced yesterday, which we talked about, not at great length. This team has some solid pieces to it. Now, do I think you need a little bit more power? Yeah. A lot of people need a lot of power. A lot of big bats leaving college baseball this season. A lot. You know, there's not a Tommy Tanks, technically, from that kind of number standpoint, that is out there. You do have Kylan, the shortstop from Louisville that's out there, but he's not a massive power guy. So who will be that dude for you next year? Maybe it is Luis Hernandez. We'll see, because he's also draft eligible. So multiple times that Jay has done this, if you do go to Arizona, though, where he's got some freshmen that are going to be really good and hit really hard. So we'll see. One question that I thought it was interesting, talking about Chris Stanfield one more time, is what happens with Josh Pearson? I don't know. I mean, you would think that Stansfield in center, maybe you can move Larson to left, put Jake Brown out and right, and then you have your outfield. And that's a pretty athletic outfield, if we're being honest. I don't know what happens with Pearson, though. I legitimately don't. I think the kid wouldn't mind coming back and playing with his brother, and I don't blame him. Look, a guy that might not have a big-time career in Major League Baseball, your brother's going to be on the team next year, but what do you do with him? And that's going to be a big question. I mean, look, he might hit 235 in the regular season, but come postseason, stick him in the lineup, see what happens. And by the way, look, man, there's something to be said about a guy coming back for a senior year. coming back and being there that long. He's not gonna. He's not gonna. And you say that, you wonder if there's going to be a time that he breaks through. But he hit bigger than a 235 at times. That his average was. He struck out a lot. He hit a lot of weak stuff, and I just don't think he could start over Stanfield. If you're just talking Stanfield, Curiel, Larson, and Brown, that's a tough lineup to crack. Very tough lineup to crack. So we'll see. And that's not the only ones that you're getting. I would say too, man, like I know what the kind of the order of things of what you would do at first if Hernandez stays. I am interested to see what they do at third. I'm also interested to see what they do at catcher. Now, stay with me. Brady Neal hits the portal, and we talked about that last night, but him hitting the portal for me signified that I do think that they might be in the market for a catcher. So if there is somebody that you think that can come to third or play third or be another infielder that's good enough that can come here, start, I wouldn't be surprised there. I am surprised what they would do with Ethan Fry. Guy hadn't hit the portal yet. I don't anticipate him to. Maybe I'm wrong there. We shall see. But who's going to play third? Who's going to be that guy that's going to rotate in behind the plate? I wouldn't be surprised if a very veteran catcher that has a really good glove doesn't find his way to Baton Rouge. We'll see. But I do think that those are two things. Oh, and plus, you just need more arms. You need more arms. So that's kind of the order of things. I already spoke about this guy earlier, but he talked about Ethan Fry, and I think this is a very interesting comment. LGZ says, would love for Fry to make a huge jump. Me too, and that is very interesting. So when you look next year, guys, you're talking about a guy that, wasn't bad, but, a guy with that 6'5", 239, I mean, could he provide the power that you need? Guys, I'll never forget this, just to tell you, like, something that we saw. When LSU played at Southeastern last year, and LSU was taking BP, Ethan Fry was legitimately taking them off the lights at the Pat and Hammond. Like, do I know that the power's there? Yeah, I visibly seen this dude send one, and I'm not joking, to the lights. He busted a light out. I swear to God, ask anybody that was there. Anybody that was there would tell you what happened. The crazy thing is, that kind of power, now has he had enough at bats? I think is an interesting conversation. He's had games, but look, I mean, it's hard to come in and do that in one game. He going up against Arkansas. I mean, his first real actions against Arkansas and that pitching staff, who, guys, was the technically by the numbers number one pitching staff in the SEC last year. I don't know if it's necessarily fair. The dude's got raw, athletic, country strong, red beard power. You know that those Vikings had power, man. The kid's a Viking. I would not be surprised if Ethan Fry, Stephen Fry is our good friends over at Fry Construction. But I would not be surprised if, like, Ethan Fry did a DNA test, like one of those swabs, and it came back like 72% Viking. For all you WWE fans, I mean, the dude's built like Sheamus, not the fat one, the skinny one, the athletic one, the one with the mohawk. I mean, that is him. It's gotta translate. Now, Spectrum says Fry was hurt. Yeah, he was hurt. But let's not act like before that and after he came back. I mean, look, man, he's coming back from an injury, but he's had interesting. He's had interesting 2 years here. You can't say that he hasn't. So we'll see. We'll see. Conrad says Skull. Yeah. 1000%. We went right into baseball. Forgot Rufino's rants. Too excited. We'll get to it in just a second, though. David says LSU will get 1 or 2 more catches in the portal. I don't know about 2. I just think they need 1. He also says Bears draft eligible sophomore. That he is. Spectrum Wellcare says rather be like Tennessee, play Powerball. Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree with that. And look, let me add this to it too. I don't think that it would go against everything that Jay has done not every single year, but at times at Arizona and at LSU. It would be a different deal of how he's doing things. And he might see that guys have power in that lineup that we have no idea that possess it. Like we don't. I don't think any of us expected Monster Milam to hit as well and as hard and hit as many home runs as he did down the stretch last season. We legitimately didn't. So, what, he had 8 home runs, 9 home runs? Can he get into double digits? Can he get to 15? Is that his max? And if it is, if he doubles that type of production, well, you're sitting okay. You got powered. It's just that you're not going to have the 29 home run dude. You don't, unless Ethan Fry breaks out. Ethan Fry has Bear Jones type power. He's got to show it though. Bear Jones has shown it in 2 years that he's got serious power. He showed this year that, look, his eyes got a lot better at the plate and he can take pitches and walk. He's not going to chase shit. And you know what? It's made him a better hitter, and it makes Jay Johnson look like a damn developmental genius. Guys, like, let's understand that he had Bear Jones at the end of the year not only giving you great at-bats, but hitting the last 3 weeks, he hit over 320 or around 320. You're talking about a power guy that was hitting 320 down the stretch. Oh, by the way, in the SEC tournament, he just hit home runs. He was 4 for 9 going into the Tennessee game, as an example. 4 of them were bombs. What are we discussing? Oh, by the way, he hit one against Tennessee too. Developmental, man. I would say that, in all fairness, of guys that we've seen develop the best, it's come from on the diamond than anywhere. Y'all call me crazy. Y'all think I'm crazy. A lot of football guys that are just mainly football think I'm crazy. Jay Johnson legitimately is the best developer and recruiter as a head coach on that campus. It's just not, guys, I'll be real with you. It's not in the same stratosphere. It's legitimately not. Legitimately isn't. All right. Enough about that. I'll field any more questions. Do we have any more before we switch to some football stuff? I know they're down 3-0. People coming in here and always giving me Yankees troubles. Stephen Frost says, I sure as hell can't hit one off the lights. More of a contact guy myself. I do wish they would take Ethan's stance more into his legs like Bear for more consistency. Just a recliner coaching over here. I think that's interesting. I think that's very interesting. And our good friends over at Fry Construction in Eunice, y'all need to get over there. That is interesting. See what Jay does. David says Michael Braswell is a perfect example of that. Oh, 100%. David, 1,000%. You're talking about a guy in Michael Braswell. And by the way, speaking of development, You're talking about Jay Johnson developing a guy like Michael Braswell last year. Now, it's not that Braswell didn't put in a lot of effort. He didn't put in a lot of time. But, I mean, Jay's going to have to get the credit for that. You have a guy that is known for helping dudes at the plate. Michael Braswell comes in here. Guys legitimately hits almost 70 points better. Michael Braswell hit 245, if I'm not mistaken, in South Carolina a year ago. Now, somebody can bean count me on that. It is what it is. It was well above 310. At the end of the year. I mean, like, not only is Bear Jones a really good example of development, so is Braswell. Now, I am interested to see what happens with Braz. Now they got the kid Hogg, the shortstop, that's coming into. I think he's highly athletic. I think he can play. I do. Let's see how the bright lights at LSU work for him. I think the kid can play. Good dude. They got some talent now. Can they put it together? I really do hope Braswell comes back. If there's anybody on that team that I hope that comes back next season that we're kind of iffy on, personally, I think it's Braswell. Now, I would love Bear Jones and Tommy Tanks too as well. I just don't really realistically see that happening. I think the kid could develop and be even better next year. Can he continue that development, or is he peaked out? I don't know. I think he's got a lot more things that he can do at LSU. You know who else kind of took that stance too? Now, Michael Braswell does not have this type of power, but you know who got a guy that had the same kind of inkling with him is Christian Moore at Tennessee. Christian Moore could have gone into the draft last year. He doesn't. He comes back somehow, some way. Guys, is one of the best power hitting second basemen we've ever seen in college baseball's history. I mean, late bloomer, had experience, exploded. So I think that Braswell could have a season like that, man. Not with that kind of home run production, but could he get 15 points better? If you're talking about a guy that's hitting 320 to 330, guys, sign me up. I don't think people understand how really freaking good that is. I think people I don't know. They associate what he's doing in the field with what he's doing at the plate. And I get that. You can't be shitty defensively. I understand that. But I do know one thing. I hope we get the kid from Louisville, the Kylan kid. I know a lot of teams are after him. But the shortstop that everybody wants to fix them defensively had not only more errors than Braswell did a year ago, he almost had double. Braswell had 13 errors last year. The kid from Louisville, the number one player in the portal, had 24. Starts to even itself out a little bit. I can talk about baseball all the live long day. But I fully believe it. All right. Anyway. Jenkins says, is there any chance Connor Griffin makes it to LSU? No. Hell no. Hell no. To the no, no, no. Hell to the no. Trip Block with a $199 super chat says, when do you think we will know about Jones? When the draft happens? I'm sure we'll feel, Trip, I'm sure that we'll feel like there will be things worked out behind the scenes with Bear Jones and Jay. If Jay doesn't already know, I think after the next, which I feel like he does, Jay's got to know. I mean, when you go to the MLB draft combine, 75% of your contract that you're going to get is guaranteed when you go to that thing. Now, Tommy Tanks didn't go to it, but he don't have to go to it. And he didn't need there to be any kind of guarantee because he's going to get the money. But I just can't see it. Now, Thatcher Hurd went to it too. which I do think is interesting. The two people that was most interested about being at that MLB draft combine was Hurd and Jones. Because what do you do? All right. Kevin says, okay, it's football time. Let's go. I'm only 30 minutes into the show. Man. Can't even talk baseball. All right. He's right, though. He's right. Let's get to a couple breaks. Let's get to a couple commercials here. We'll come back around. Some things we're hearing around LSU football. Some things already coming out. What are the toughest games for LSU's? We talked about one of them, I think, and we'll touch on that. But we got some football stuff that we need to discuss. Don't go anywhere. Back next. Stay with us. Guys, you might know my good friend Carol Falls and all the great service that he provides over at State Farm. He is your good neighbor after all. But did you know State Farm has surprisingly great rates as well? Along with a great neighbor service, State Farm agent Carol Falls has surprisingly great rates for everyone inside the state of Louisiana. So call him today at 985-395-4300, 985-395-4300 for all of those surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life insurance needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, and individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to the State Farm underwriting requirements. By the Drake Williams Law Firm, drakewilliamslawfirm.com. Whether you've been injured in an accident, you're preparing for a future with your estate planning, you're getting ready to close in on a real estate deal, or you're about to welcome a new addition through adoption into your family, or you're facing criminal charges, you need very experienced attorneys, and that is what the Drake Williams Law Firm will be able to do for you in navigating the legal system. The door to their cozy office in historic downtown Ponchatoula has been open since 1981. They have helped thousands and thousands of Louisiana families and individuals win cases, close on real estate deals, and regain that peace of mind. Their lawyers over at the Drake Williams Law Firm, Ernie Drake III, Ryan J. Williams, and Summer Vignair, are very determined, compassionate, and dedicated to their craft. It's the Drake Williams Law Firm, drakewilliamslawfirm.com. Give them a call today at 985-386-7600. Tell them your good friend Blake Ruffino at AYS sent you on by.
J&J has protected Louisiana homes and businesses for over 60 years.
Call him today, make pests go away. J&J Exterminating. Yeah.
These Justin Timberlake memes that are coming out after he got arrested for a DUI, I got to admit, are pretty hilarious. My man's eyes in the mugshot, he is absolutely under the influence. As someone who's been under the influence before, I know what it looks like. And those eyes, if you hadn't seen the Justin Timberlake mugshot, I highly suggest that you do. You know, what college football coaches sometimes you think are as high as Justin Timberlake was? I mean, some of you last night were saying Les Miles, and I don't know if that's necessarily false. I mean, the man loved grass. But there does come a point in time where I do ask myself, are some of these coaches smoking weed on the side? And I fully believe that they are. Fully believe that there are some coaches that are out there smoking the ganj. You might know a couple of them. Deep jokes. All right. Let's get to it. So LSU continues, which really just kind of started, on their offseason workout training. Now, even though there's never really an offseason anymore because there's so much going on football related, LSU is in summer camp. They've been in there for about 3 weeks. And there are some guys that I think have started to separate themselves. Now, we talked about last week that guys that we had heard that are having really good summers. This week, we did it a week ago today. We're going to do it a week ago. We did it a week ago on best, some really good guys. Let me give you not necessarily guys, but maybe an area that I'm starting to be a little bit more concerned about, Because when I do look at this DB room, it's something that, we talked about tongue in cheek, and we all said to ourselves, yeah, it's bad. But C-Ray's back is would have been a lot of your comments, but we got to fix the D-line. And DB is something that we haven't necessarily got a really good look into, where you and I had a conversation about what's going on there. Now, let me preface this because I agree with it. The other day, the Pete Jenkins video came out. Jacques Doucet posted one. I was talking to Mike Tatilier today. I think he had him on his radio show, and we all heard it. He said the D-line doesn't have the personnel. He told Bo Davis it doesn't have the personnel, and that he doesn't believe that they have any corners. Okay, let's talk about that for a minute. Is he wrong? Because we'll get into a Ruffino's rants here in just a minute, mainly due to the fact that I think that he might be right. Now, what's going to happen is we're going to have so much excitement for the season. I'm going to push back at DB. You're going to say, oh, man, no, it happens every single year. I don't know what you have out there that can be consistent. Now, do I think that you got talent in that room? Yeah, actually, believe it or not, I actually think that you do have some talent in that room. Some guys that can play a little bit. But the biggest question becomes, are you going to be relying on a couple of freshmen that are having to come out of nowhere to help and be in significant roles? Now, look, man, I know that you have a new defensive staff coming in, 2 new secondaries coaches, but, man, really with the portal today, the way that it is, and you having a head coach that's been here for 3 years, you would think that you wouldn't have to do that unless a guy was ultra talented, like a Derek Stingley. But even when Derek Stingley did it, he was surrounded by guys. Christian Fulton was a senior. Jacoby Stevens was a junior. Jay Ward was going to be in the next year. Who am I thinking about? Oh, Christian Fulton. It was still number 5, though. It wasn't Jay Ward. Kerry Vincent. Kerry Vincent was a senior. So guys that had been there a long time, and then one freshman. Oh, Grant Delpit was in that secondary too. You might not have that luxury. I know that it has been a very sensitive subject when we talk about the DB room, because you feel like that I am always coming down on Corey Raymond. That's not the conversation that I'm trying to have. The conversation that I'm trying to have is are they ready there? Do they have enough talent? Do they have enough experience? And the big question that I keep coming back to after things that I've heard from this summer is, and the wide receiver room is kind of doing a little bit better, if not extremely much better than what is going on at the DB room. Now, marginally, I do think that you as a DB room at corner might not be as good as you once were or you need to be. However, I don't think specifically that you have massive gaps or issues at safety. I think you got experienced guys back there. Look, you can say what you want about Sage Ryan, but he does have experience to help younger guys. You do have Jordan Gilbert back there. I don't know if those 2 guys are the most talented, but they do have the most experience. I do think Deshaun McBride's going to have to play some. I think he's a true free safety type that can roam all over the place. And I also think that Kylan Jackson, man, somebody that emerged during the spring window, can he be that dude? Guys, you got some talent at safety. I am extremely worried about what you have going on at corner. Now, it's not the first time that you and I have had this conversation, and now you're 3 weeks into the summer, and I continue to hear that has been a little bit of the issue. So it's tough. I mean, you do have a quarterback in Garrett Nussmeier that's been in the system for now going to be 3 years under Brian Kelly. I mean, I get that you have a lot of talent and a lot of experience on that offensive side of the football, and it's going to take guys time. The question becomes, where have you gotten better? Now, I do think that things will be better defensively because I think you're going to send more pressure and get after the quarterback, which is going to help out your corners. I don't think you're going to be passive like Matt House was. It's going to help you. I do think you get better from just a play call, play style, philosophy, want to, aggression, all of that. You get better. Talent-wise, you're not better at corner. Okay? At least you haven't proved it. You had the spring game where you did not have a lot of success, and then you turn right around. You don't get anybody in the portal in the spring window. There were some bodies in there that you could have gone to get, and you didn't. So now you have what you have. There's been a lot of chit chat about maybe Corey thinks that the room's not talented. So I'm not going to say that they don't have talent in that room because I do think that they do. I think it's just all a lot of young guys. Now, Zy Alexander comes back from injury. Denver Harris leaves. Sage Ryan might not be playing corner. So, too many question marks, man. Way too many question marks on the boundary and at slot for us to sit here and say that it's not an issue. During the spring, Jair Brown was doing very good at the slot. Actually was pretty disruptive during the spring when they would send him on blitzes. Then they moved him. So I know what this video is going to do. I know what this live stream is going to do when we talk about it. Guys, there are things that I'm hearing that the secondary has not gotten to a place where you would think you would, or where you would want it to be. I don't think anybody wants, everybody wants them to be the best corner and safety room in the country. But in a realistic nature, guys, if they were midway through the pack, you could live with it because it would be massive progression from one year to the next. The way that things are going spring-wise and post-spring into summer workouts, from what I hear, it has not been the case. Has not been the case. I don't know if you have a true leader in that corner room. Who are the leaders there? Because you never hear something coming out of that building that, man, like this guy was, he was doing this. He was saying, listen, we're going to do X, Y, and Z to get better. Hadn't happened yet. That's one thing. Got to add what Pete Jenkins, though, did say about LSU's defensive line. He was mainly and only talking about the interior. He wasn't talking about the edge. He even clarified he wasn't talking about the edge. Look, man, it's going to be what it's going to be. You're going to have to see if it progresses at corner and at the interior of your defensive line. Now, you had 3 guys last year that got drafted. Scheme. I don't think Mason Smith was as good as he needed to be. Mekhi Wingo gets hurt. You're just not good at that position at the current moment, per him, and we have talked about it. I do think that you're going to be fine at edge. I think you got a lot of playmakers there. I think that you're decent at edge, linebacker, and safety. I think you got 2 very glaring weaknesses in the interior of your defense and on the boundary. Exactly where teams want to attack you. That's where teams want to go and want to attack you, to be explosive and to get after things on the offensive side of the football. So I have not heard anything. There was a lot of talk about Don McKinley looking really good. But I told you what I think about that. We talked about that last week. He was one of the players that we discussed that coaches had really been looking at. I'm not gonna give a stamp of approval from this show until we see the kid do it as a freshman. I think you should go about that route with everyone. Do I think that there's exceptions to rules? Always there's exceptions to rules. But we need to see, can he be consistent as a freshman? It's a big ask. It's a very big ask, man. So we'll see. Carlton Landry says the issue will be the portal and money moving forward. Recruiting will be an utmost importance. It is all, look, it's always of the utmost importance. And I do think, ironically, as I say that about corner and I say about safety, or say it about the interior DTs, I know what you're recruiting at both of those positions. I know that, and we've talked about this on our forum. Go over there, ayssnetwork.com/forum. It's a discussion that we had. The discussion was based primarily off of, actually from a high school ranks perspective, people might not think that a lot of these D linemen that they're recruiting are necessarily the upper echelon. A lot of really solid players that he's going after, meaning Bo Davis. You're going after DJ Pickett at corner. You got Jamboree or Antoine that is also committed. You got a chance with this class, and I think you did really good with the last one. But you're going to have to get some bona fide. You're going to have to just get dudes in here, man. Where are the dudes? I know Harold Perkins can be a dude. Where are the other ones? Like when you're playing against Ole Miss and everybody during the week's breaking the game down, be like, hey, bro, have y'all seen Harold Perkins? Like, have y'all seen Greg Penn? Like, this kid Greg Penn's actually taking a massive step forward. Actually, Greg Penn's somebody that has been having chatter around his name. Is Blake Baker going to do it again? It's a big question mark. I think Greg Penn has been somebody that they have really shined in on. If I did have a breakout player, or not breakout player, I'll say it like this. A breakout player nobody's talking about, I would go Greg Penn. I would go Greg Penn. Got to live up to it. There's a lot of faith going into that one. Tons of faith. Conrad says McKinley will play early and often out of need. Grow up soon. Yo, playing out of necessity. Dion Black says, so is Corey Raymond to blame or is it personnel? I mean, look, as much as I've gotten on Corey, I think it's going to be a mixture of both, to be honest with you. I think that you got to judge Corey next season purely based off of mainly due to do the guys from week one get better every single week? Is he developing them? And if he is, okay. But if he isn't, then you might have an issue. Because you don't have a Greedy Williams type talent in that room right now that has proven it to you. Not that they don't have it. Look, I hear BB Causey, the kid from New Orleans, has surprised some people. Michael Turner has surprised some people. But those kids are freshmen. Oh, by the way, PJ Woodland was all the talk in spring camp because he was the only one that can cover anybody. You're going to run a secondary of freshmen out there, and if you do, you're going to lose games that you have no business losing. I mean, it's just what's going to happen. You cannot do that. And you're not going to do that, but you can't do it either. You're going to have to rely on Jair Brown. You're going to have to rely on J.K. Johnson, barring that he stays healthy. You're going to have to rely on Ashton Stamps. You're going to have to rely on, well, God forbid, what does Jawan Johnson come in here and do? What does Javian Toviano do? I mean, guys, if we're being honest, if I looked at you right now and said, do you know for a fact what type of production that you have returning at corner and at DT that makes you feel comfortable about them in that position or at that position, you would say no. And if you do say yes, then you're going to have to take the glasses off. But it comes down to a fact. If you don't have the personnel that you think that you want, you still got to develop guys so that your room gets better. I think you got enough. There's talent in the room. I just don't know if the secondary is going to be like you would have thought by now that there would be more guys starting to take another step forward in development, right? Like I mean, there comes that fine line of do you have the talent? Do you not have the talent? Why aren't guys developing? And there's that fine line. Which tippy toe are you walking on? Because I know what you're going to say if the DB room doesn't do good. Well, C-Ray hasn't gotten his guys in. Okay, well, are they developing? No. Okay. Well, then we have a bigger issue. Let me finish this with a Rufino's rants, though, because this happens every single year. You know, about this time, every single year, there are all of these things that come out because it's basically just dead season after the College World Series. And people come out with their lists, people come out with their rankings, people come out with this, people come out with that. I have seen on multiple national services, people will say, well, these are the 3 hardest games that LSU has next year. Mainly it has been Florida, Alabama, Ole Miss. I think people are grossly underrating, from an LSU side of things, USC. Massively. Because all I hear from people is, yeah, LSU should win that game. No problem. Okay. Well, let's play a little game called Name That Team. You're replacing a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback. You don't know really what you're going to have at running back. You have some receivers that got drafted. Now, one school did have more talented receivers. Oh, their D-line's bad. They got a new defensive coordinator, a new D-line coach, a new secondaries coach, a new corners coach. Oh, wait. They're both the same. Now, you had better wide receivers that you have to replace, but that's neither here nor there. You do return a better offensive line, so you do have that. But when people are out there saying whatever they want to say about USC, guys, you have a lot of the same question marks that they do. Very identical. So I don't know if Florida is one of the 3 toughest games that we play next year. What I do know is going to the Swamp is very difficult. Don't overlook game 1, man. Don't overlook any of them. But you cannot overlook game 1. Because if you do, that's the shit that gets you beat. And you're wondering like, hey, man, we should go into this game and really just patty smack USC. Okay, well, at some point you got to prove it to me. I told you last year, I'm not doing this again. I'm not doing that again. So you play a lot of good teams this year. There are going to be some teams that are going to give you fits that you might beat that you think that we had no business staying in the same stratosphere with. I fear that happens in week 3 versus South Carolina because Lenore Sellers is running all over the place. That's my fear. Now, if he does or doesn't, I don't know. But could that kid have a career day on you? Running the football? Yeah, he could, guys. He could. You better prepare yourselves, man. Oh, no. Wait, why do I feel like this? Oh, man. Damn. Go hard or go home says 0-4 in the last 4 openers. Be humble. Be more than humble because it's the truth. There's only one dude last year during the offseason that was telling you that Florida State was all in on Florida State being a playoff team. Not just on this one, but on a national show. It was a big-time playoff showdown, what we all thought. You got your ass handed to you. And by the way, you have the same freaking question marks. All of you were questioning, is Jane Daniels taking the next step? That was the big question. How does this O-line look? No, the truth was your defense sucked. Well, Jane Daniels and them only scored 24 points versus Florida State, because you can't you got to only score 24. You got to have over 30 points every single game, even though you're the number one total offense in the country. It's a shame, man. Jamal says exactly. LSU will go 7-5. No way they win the swamp. Mertz will light them up. Now, I ain't say all that shit. I didn't say all that shit. Don't come on now. Come on. Jordan says, I'm worried about USC, UCLA, and Oklahoma. You should be worried. I mean, in addition to what you need to worry about, Ole Miss, Alabama, and USC, yeah, you do. You do. You got to worry about all of them, man. Guys, you don't know. I mean, we can give projections. I make a living doing projections. I projected you're going to, if BK allows it to happen, you're going to play a lot of freshmen. Unless J.K. Johnson, Jair Brown, and Zy Alexander, by the grace of God, find a way to be your starting corners, you're going to play a lot of freshmen. And it would be the first time those guys did that here, by the way, besides Zy Alexander. So we'll see. All right. Oh, by the way, I took Tennessee 2 nights ago to win the national championship. I just think they're best team in all of college baseball, in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they get beat. We'll see. Till then, we'll see all of you soon. Y'all have a good one. Peace.